server. Okay, which means AYC will have the link, and I will ask Grace to give us the link, and we will upload it onto the classroom, and then the link will appear in the lectures 1, lectures 2, lectures 3 under video clip. So you can actually refer to it. Okay, so it's actually very useful. Okay, thank you for reminding me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anthony. Sometimes cannot masuk at one go.
I know. Okay. Okay, so if you have your book, let me just quickly go through page 1. Okay. Page 1 is basically just to tell you a little bit about where did we get the Hebrew language. Okay. There are different languages in the world. Okay. One is the Indo-European. And this is where we get the English languages, Iranian languages, and Indian languages because of Sanskrit. So that's where you have the languages in India, in Iran, and then even in Europe, many of the words are picked up from there. Okay. Then you have what we call Austronesian. So you can see part of the word is Australia and the other part of the word is Polynesia. So these are all the languages in Indonesia, Philippines, and the Oceania group. So NZ, Australia, Fiji, and all this. Then the one that we are interested in is what we call the Afro-Asiatic. Okay, we are part of this group where you can see is Africa and Asia. And here is where we get languages in Africa and languages in Asia. And in Asia, we have a long line of languages which comes through what we call the Semitic language. So the Semitic language, Hebrew is part of it. You'll be surprised, Arabian is part of it. And then Aramaic, which is very close to Hebrew, is part of it. Even Akkadian, Babylonian language is part of it. And you also have Ethiopian, okay, language which is also part of the language here. So one can see that's why of all the similarities, Arabic and Hebrew are actually very similar. Okay, Arabic and Hebrew share many common words, especially the stem. Like I give you one example. In Arabic, the womb is the word which we get Rahim. It's a womb. Okay, and in Hebrew is Raham. Same root word, except the vowels have changed from an A to an I. See, it's almost similar. So, and Aramaic and Hebrew shares a lot of similarities also. For example, in Hebrew, we have the word Eli, which is my God, from El plus the suffix. In Aramaic is Eloi, which is the same, my God, except that the suffix is an oi instead of an I. So again, you can see Aramaic and Hebrew are very similar. So you'd be surprised to find that in the Semitic range, there is all these languages which are very similar. They all share the same common root. And of course, from Hebrew, it also has developed from early Hebrew, which is called Paleo, and then it goes down all this. So let me clear. So Hebrew language also has evolved through the centuries. Okay, Old Hebrew is called Paleo Hebrew, and then you move on to what we call Classical Hebrew, which is what we find as Biblical Hebrew. So when you open a Bible in the Hebrew language, this is the Hebrew that you read, the Biblical Hebrew. And then we go on to something called Late Biblical Hebrew, and we use the short form LBH. And this is the Hebrew language from around 400 BC onwards to about the modern century. Okay, and then now you have modern day Hebrew. So actually, we find that if you know a bit of classical Hebrew and you go to Israel today, you can make some sense to the people in Israel if you can speak classical Hebrew, because they share the same thing. So even the script has changed through the years. Paleo Hebrew is written very differently. It is written something like this. Okay, whereas classical Hebrew is the one that we are very used to, which uses this square script. And today, modern Hebrew, they even use a cursive form, cursive writing, which I don't even study that because it's too complicated. Okay, so what we are focusing is the language of this period, and this is the language of the time of the so-called many of the biblical books were written, and this is the language that is used. Okay, from the time of the conquest of the Promised Land, 120 BC to around post-exilic period of 400 BC, this is the language that is used. So if you study this, you can actually open a Hebrew Bible and you can actually read the text. Okay, so that's a good thing about learning Hebrew. Okay, so Hebrew has not changed through the centuries. The text is preserved. And if you go to a synagogue, you open a scroll. This is the Hebrew script that you will see, and you can actually read it. You go to the Dead Sea Scroll Museum, look at the Dead Sea Scroll of Isaiah that is on display. You actually can read it. Okay, if you can read classical Hebrew, you can read even the Dead Sea Scroll manuscript. Okay, so many Hebrew words are already assimilated into the English language. Most of us don't realize that, but if you were to think about words like this, in English today, we have the word hallelujah. Okay, it's actually from the Hebrew word hallel with a suffix with the short form of Yahweh. Okay, it's actually the same root word. Hallel, which is the word for praise, and U is the word for Ye, which is a masculine plural. And Yah is short form for Yahweh. Okay, so you can see today in English, we take the whole Hebrew word without changing it. Hallelujah. Actually, it comes from the word Hallel, which is praise. U is the suffix for Ye, you plural, and Yah short form for Yahweh. Okay. Other words like Shalom, see, is the same. It's the same Hebrew word Shalom. So today we talk about Shalom, peace to you, peace, health, good health, blessings, prosperity. That's the whole thing. And some words we retain it even today without changing much. Like Beth El comes from the same Hebrew word, Beth and El, which is house of God. So we are not changing some of the words. And so if we think that Hebrew is very strange, actually not true, because we already adopted many of them into our English language. One of the interesting words which David Baker didn't put in here is this word cinnamon. Have you ever asked where did this English word cinnamon come from? It actually comes from the Hebrew. Ki, na, mon. Okay, so in Hebrew, if you were to write it, it will be ki, na, mon. Cinnamon, cinnamon. See, almost exactly except we change the Q to a C. So in English, even our words comes from the Hebrew. Okay, so actually we know a lot of Hebrew words actually. Sabbath day. In Hebrew, Shabbat. See, it has not changed. Then we talk about the angels, the seraphims, and the cherubims. These are all Hebrew words. From the word seraph singular, the I am is the masculine plural. So seraphim plural or seraph. These are the burning fiery angels. Cherubim plural of cherub. Cherub are the fat angels like this Cupid. Cupid is a cherub. And so when we see babies that are nice and chubby, we call them cherubic in English. See, we use even English words deriving from Hebrew. So if we see a baby that's nice and fat and chubby, cherubic, that is an English word it comes from, and it comes from the same Hebrew words. So actually, we are quite familiar with a lot of Hebrew words, just that we sometimes don't realize it. Okay, we put in a lot of these words into our language, and so sometimes just a little bit of uh, explanation, and then you say, oh, now I know what it means. Okay, so Hebrew is not so difficult once you understand that it is a phonetic language. Thank God it's not like Chinese. Chinese is all individual characters. Hebrew still uses phonetic system, so it is like reading Romanized Chinese. Okay, if you don't read the Chinese character, you use a Romanized Chinese, you can actually read the Chinese. And then you follow the four tone, the intonation, yin yang shang xu, and then you can read the different po 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 po, mo 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 mo. So you begin to read. So Hebrew, you look at the phonetics, you actually can read it even though you may not understand the word. Okay, so it is not as difficult as it looks. Okay, so in Hebrew, you find that you do have. Let me switch now the slide. If you were to perhaps look at this song on page 5, you see that there is a Hebrew song that and this song is a song that we often sing when people we bid farewell to people, and so this song is called Shalom Khaverim. Okay, let me put it up here. So I took a photo of it, so it's not very clear, but this you can see. Now, the translation, of course, is modern translation. KH is actually a strong H, which we actually transliterate with a H with a dot underneath. So you even see if we were to use transliteration, you can actually read the Hebrew. Shalom Khaverim, Shalom Havarov, Shalom Shalom. Lehi Ra'ov, Lehi Ra'ov, Shalom Shalom. Okay. So Shalom means peace. So Shalom, peace. Havarim, plural of brothers. Havarov, plural of sisters. So peace, brothers. Peace to you, sisters. Peace, peace. Lehi Ra'ov, Le is the preposition to. Here Ra'o is see you again, that idea of see you again. So until we see again, peace, peace. So actually not that difficult, you see. And so once you get the hang of it, Hebrew is quite consistent. When you see a im is masculine plural, you see a o is feminine plural. It's consistent. It's like our plural in English, we got S. But the problem is that S doesn't differentiate gender. Hebrew it differentiate the gender. Im is masculine plural. O is feminine plural. Very interesting. Okay. Now this song, of course, we all can sing. So along the way, David Baker put in about 6 songs into his book. I'm trying to look for the music score so you can actually learn it. Or maybe play the music. So this one very easy to sing. Shalom Khaverim, Shalom Khavero, Shalom Shalom, Lehi Ra'ov, Lehi Ra'ov, Shalom Shalom. Okay, you try. Your try, okay? Shalom Khaverim, Shalom Khavero, Shalom Shalom, Lehi Ra'ov, Lehi Ra'ov, Shalom Shalom. Okay. Okay, you want to try? Want to sing together? At least then you can say, first class, I learned the Hebrew song. Okay. Yeah. Shalom Khaverim, Shalom Khaverov, Shalom Shalom, Lehi Ra'ov, Lehi Ra'ov, Shalom Shalom. Okay, so it's not that difficult. And once you get the hang of the pronunciation, you realize it's phonetic. Okay, Shalom. Khaverim, Shalom, Khaverov, Shalom, Shalom. Lehit, Ra'ov, Lehit, Ra'ov, Shalom, Shalom. Okay. So that's Hebrew. Okay. So Hebrew sounds like Arabic. So sometimes when you hear Arabic speakers, they sound a little bit like Hebrew because they share almost the same sort of phonetical system. Although the writing is different, okay, but the sounds are almost similar. Okay. Okay, you get the fun? It's quite easy. Actually, not that difficult. Okay, so at least you know the first song in Hebrew. You can go back and sing it now. Shalom, Khaverim, Shalom, Khavero, Shalom, Shalom, Lehi Ra'ov, Lehi Ra'ov, Shalom, Shalom. See, that's what Hebrew sounds like. Okay. So today you go to Israel, you sing it, they understand what you're singing. Okay. Along the way, I'll teach you even the Israel's national anthem, Hatikva, the hope. Okay. And once you learn that, you can just sing the Israel's national anthem, the hope. Okay. So it's not that difficult. Okay. So the rest of exercise one, you can look at it and you can see how you can read it. Okay, so what we're going to do is go into exercise 2 and begin to learn the Hebrew alphabets for today. How do we write the Hebrew alphabets and how do we pronounce them? Okay, so let me go back to the screen. What screen? Okay, so we are now on page 6. The alphabet. Now, you look at alphabet, you realize it comes from two words, alpha, beta. Two Greek words is where we get our English words. Alpha, beta, of course, when you write it in Greek, alpha, beta, okay, gamma, delta, epsilon. So alpha, beta is the first two Greek letters. Okay, and that's where we get the English word alphabet. And alpha, beta is also what we get in Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. So it is also the first two. So is Aleph and Beth. So it's actually the same. Okay, because Greek, how did the language develop? The Greek got it from the Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians borrowed it from the Canaanites. Along the way, from the Canaanites also, the Hebrew people also borrowed the script. That's why you see Greek and Hebrew, we are all based on the same alphabets. Except the difference between Greek alphabets and Hebrew alphabets is the Greek alphabets contain the vowels inside the alphabet. The Hebrew alphabet doesn't have the Hebrew vowels, they're only consonants. The Hebrew vowels are not in the Hebrew alphabet, they are only consonants and there are 22 of them. Whereas in the Greek, you have both consonants and vowels. And you have 26. Okay. So the vowels is where what we use A, E, I, O, U. And the Hebrew people will also have vowels, and the vowels are also based on A, E, I, O, U. Except that they have long A, short A, long E, short E, long I, short I. So it is more. In fact, you have more than 10 vowels. Whereas in Greek, there are only just 5 vowels. So Greek and Hebrew developed separately, and so the Greek people put the vowels into the alphabet. So that's why you have A, B, C, D, E, and all this. Whereas the Hebrew people, the vowels are not inside the alphabet. The alphabet is only just the consonants, and there are 22 of them. The vowels are separate, and there are more than 10 because you have both long and short. Okay, so the alphabets therefore all come from the same root one, which is the Canaanite, the Proto-Canaanite, and from there it came into Proto-Hebrew and then Hebrew. And the Canaanite English went into the Phoenician language, which the Phoenician sailors took to Greece, and then the Greek people took the language and also used it. So you find that the Greek and Hebrew share the same roots from the same source, the mother source. So how do we learn the Hebrew alphabet? They are to say there are 22 consonants or letters in the Hebrew. Okay, so vowels, we will look at them separately. So 22. Now, one way to remember it is to group them. Group them in groups of 5, 5, 4, 4. Now, this so that you group them in groups of the first 5, Aleph, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. The next 5, Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yo. And then Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, 4. Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph, 4. Resh, Shin, Sin, Tau, 4. And then you realize you have 22. Now, why group them? One reason is it's easier to memorize. Easier to memorize the alphabet in groups of letters. How do we learn the English alphabet? We also sing it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. So we sing it. So one way to learn the Hebrew one is to also group them in groups of 5. And you find that it's easier to memorize them. 5, 5, 4, 4, 4. Okay. So what we do is, if you look at your table on page 6 and 7, you see they're all 22 of them. Actually 21 because the shin is not separated. So if you were to count, it's only 21, but actually when you separate the one at the bottom there, they actually, because they have a dot at these two, actually there are 2 of them. But for simple sake, we just sometimes put it as 1. So if you look at the table on David Baker's book, it's only 21, but actually it should be 22 if we split this up. You group them in 5, 5, 4, 4, 4. So the first 5, therefore, will be these letters. Okay, this is the first. So what you do is you put the underline at the end of this. Put a line and divide the table at this hey. Okay, at the letter hey, put a line across, and then this will be your first 5. The second 5 will be Waw, Zain, Het, Tet, Yo. So you put it at the Yod, and that will be the next 5. Put a line there. So right, let's see. Okay, so that will be the next 5. And then the next 4 will start with Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, or Samekh. So we actually do 5 here. Not 4, 5. 5, 5, 5. 4, 4. Okay. This will be easier to do it. So you cut it here at the Samekh. Okay. So take a line and cut the table. So you cut 5, 5, 5. And then you have the next 4, and then you the next 4. Oh, I'll tell you why we group it this way. Then you have Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph. So at qoph, you cut it there. This is 4, and then Resh, Shin, Sin, Tau, and then you cut it here at the Tau. So 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. Okay. The reason why I do it is it's easier to memorize in groups of these letters because of the sound. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, you pause. Waw, Zai, Hek, Te, Yo, you pause. Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samekh, you pause. Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph, pause. Resh, Sin, Sin, Tau, pause. It's easier like that. Then you try to memorize entirely all 22. Okay, do it in 5-5-4-4 is much easier, and then you can even sing song it through, and then it's easier to memorize. Okay, in the Google Classroom, I put up one song where they teach Sunday school children in this room how to memorize the Hebrew alphabet. I learned it. I try to learn the songs. I still cannot learn the song. Maybe some of you can learn the song. Some people sing the song using the happy birthday tune. Now try using the happy birthday tune to sing this. Okay, of course you have to squeeze some letters in to get the hang of it. But you see why I divide it like that. You can just sing it to the tune of happy birthday. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Hek, Te, Yo, Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph, Resh, Sin, Sin, Tau. Okay, so you see, it's possible to squeeze the 22 letters into this tune. Okay, to this tune. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Hek, Te, Yo, Kaf, Lamet, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph, Resh, Sin, Sin, Tau. Okay, some people try Old MacDonald. I don't know how you can squeeze that in, but you can maybe try. There's so many different ways to learn it. So if you think that you can find a way and you have a tune that can fit in this Hebrew alphabet to memorize, well, share it with the group. Okay, so I use Happy Birthday because that's the one that I learned. Okay, so once I learned it, and that was more than 45 old years ago, I've not forgotten it. It's very easy to memorize. Okay, because when you sing it, you get all the letters in. Okay, now let's look at the groups of 5-5-5-4-4 and learn how to write them. Okay, so we will stop around just before 9. Okay, at the halfway break. Okay, so the first group, first 5. First letter is called Aleph. Sometimes written like that. Modern way is written like this. So this is the modern spelling using an F. Okay, this is the old spelling. Okay, so one way to practice writing is get those Chinese exercise books which has all those squares that we use for maths for our children to use. Not the small little one, but the ones about this size, that are square. Okay, so all those books which have all the squares built in will be very useful for actually writing Hebrew script on the square, because we try to write it using a line. So imagine this is the bottom of the line. Okay, then when I write on it, you can see where is the relative height of the letter. So the first letter is called Aleph, and it's written this way. Okay, there are two ways of writing: the modern way and the traditional way. Okay, the modern way, the traditional way. The modern way is influenced a lot by the cursive. So the modern way, as you can see on page 6, is putting an X. Okay, it's an X for Aleph. Very interesting. Okay, they use literally an X. So you see the number here. The number simply means that's the first stroke to go down. 2 is the second stroke to go down. So what I do is I put arrows to show you. You start from this point and you go down one stroke. You start from this point and you go down one stroke. And that is your Aleph in the modern way of writing. So you find that sometimes when you write, it's written this way. When you look at the printed script, it is very different. In printed script, because they use the fat manuscript pen, the Aleph ends up very nice like this. That is the Aleph. Okay, it has a very fat, broad slope at this part here, because if you use a manuscript pen, you end up with a very fat slope here. So that is what you see It's Aleph. So it looks like an X. The older way of writing was you start with a stroke, number 1, a second stroke, 2, and you do a third stroke. Okay, so you can write Aleph this way, the old traditional style, or you can write it the modern style with just two lines like an X. Okay. Some people try to write it like the printed script. No, they try to write, but you take a lot of time unless you have a manuscript pen. Those fat nib pen. Those are nib. Those pen you can then write this type because as you go around you be fatter. But don't waste your time trying to write like the printed script. Okay, but the printed script is slightly different. The way of writing Aleph is the old style was 3 strokes. You use 3 strokes to write. The number indicate where you begin. At 1, you go down the arrow. At 2, you go down halfway. At 3, from here, it goes down to the line. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. That was the old way of writing. 1, 2, 3. The new way, you just put an X. The fastest way. Okay, so it's up to you whether you want to learn the more traditional way of writing or you want to follow the more modern style of writing, which is the, as I say, influenced a lot by the cursive. Okay, any questions here? So 2 styles of writing. One is a traditional style and one is a more modern style. Traditional style will take 3 strokes. The modern one will take only 2 strokes. Okay. So I learned the old style without learning the modern way. So I still write it this way. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. If you do the modern, 1, 2. Okay. And so what do you have in the first consonant? The first consonant is not A. Although the Greek developed it and make it an A, Aleph is not A, okay? In terms of pronunciation, which you see in the third column, it is just a breathing mark above the line. Okay, this is called a breathing mark. So therefore, it is silent. There's no sound. You only pronounce it when you put a vowel underneath. So whatever vowel you put there, you put an A and it sounds like an A. Whatever you put an E, it sounds like an E. You put an I, it sounds like an I. So by itself, it is silent. That's why you just put a breathing mark and you will only pronounce it when there is a vowel underneath. Okay, so it is silent. And it is called Aleph. So there are 2 ways to spell it, Aleph. So if you want to write it with a PH or F, I'll explain this as we go along, as we come to this letter. And then you see there's one more column called number. What this means is in Hebrew, you can use the Hebrew alphabets as a numbering system. As a numbering system, because Arabic numbers, like what we use here, this is an Arabic number. These numbers were developed by the Arabs. Hebrew don't have any numbers. So what they do is they double up using the Hebrew alphabet for numbers. So Aleph therefore has a numerical value of 1. So this is the numerical value. So if you say, let's say if you want to say one man is ish. One man, they use Aleph before the word man. So you will see using the Aleph, then followed by the Hebrew word ish for man. So then you will see you have a numerical value of 1. Okay. But they also have a different system. This is only one system. There is also an alternative system where they do have Hebrew words for the numbers. Okay, they do have, and then one will be the Hebrew word echad. And so they will write the word echad, and echad also means one. So there are two ways to number. Okay, so David Baker put the system here, this last column, just for our information. We don't have to worry so much. But one can see, obviously 22 letters, you can't represent every single number because numbers grow, see? And so you can see by the time you come to page 7, when you come to 10, you don't have 11. 10 is the Hebrew word for yoke. Then what about 11? You don't have 11. The next one, qoph, is 20. So 11, therefore, has to be made up with using 10 plus 1. A yod plus an aleph, numerical value 10 plus 1, 11. If you have a number 12, then it has to be 10 plus 2, yod plus Beth, the second letter. So you see they have a very interesting system of counting numbers. And then if you have 20, that is qoph, and then it jumps to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 100 jump to 200, 200 jump to 300, 300 jump to 400. And that's it. There's no 500. Okay, to make 500, you have to probably add 400 plus 100 to make 500. So it's a very complicated system. So I would say, don't worry about this system. It's just for your information at this point that the Hebrew alphabets also have a numerical value to it as well. Okay, so what you want to focus in is the first one, the printed form. You see the printed form is very fat. Okay, and you find that in the books, in all the books that you look at, you have this printed shape, which is a common center form. Some people try to follow up with all the, the different shapes, but don't waste your time trying to do all the shape. A lot of people try to write it as close to the printed script, but you take a lot of time to write. Okay, then you have the handwriting way, which has two styles, and then you have the pronunciation. Okay, and this one is silent, and then you have the name, you have the modern and the old spelling, and then you have the numerical value. Okay. Eventually, I will introduce one more column to it, transliteration. Okay, it is not in there, but I will introduce you eventually to this so that you can then substitute the Hebrew alphabet with an English transliterated word, and that will represent the Hebrew accurately. Pronunciation doesn't represent the Hebrew word accurately. It's just for sound, for pronunciation's sake. So pronunciation, therefore, is just help you to figure out the sound. Okay, so you realize it is not accurate in the sense of transliteration. The reason David Baker doesn't use a lot of transliteration is because we don't want people to dwell a lot on transliteration. It's like learning Chinese. A lot of people learn Romanized Chinese. But then you're so indebted to the Romanized English, you cannot read actually the Chinese words. Then what's the point? We want you to go into the actual Hebrew rather than depending on the transliteration. That's why we don't use a lot of transliteration today. We prefer you to actually read the Hebrew straight away. Do what we call sight reading. Sight reading is like you look at a music score, you look at the notes, your hands will play the notes automatically. So the same way, you look at the Hebrew word, your mouth can pronounce the sound straight away. So we will do a lot of sight reading, and we will try not to depend a lot on transliteration. Translation is helpful at the beginning, but you should not be dependent on transliteration. Okay, a lot of people use transliteration because they cannot figure out. They look at it, what is this letter? What is the sound? You have to learn to get the hang of looking at the Hebrew and not relying on transliteration. Okay, so the first one is Aleph. It has no sound. It's a breathing mark. Okay, and it's written in two ways: long form, old form, or the modern form. Okay. Second letter is Beth. And this is the old style, and this is the new. So this is the modern, and this is the old way of writing. Okay, the letter Beth is written again, you have the old style, and you have the more modern style. The modern style is very simple. You can see it is written. One is one stroke, two is this stroke. So first stroke all the way down, second stroke all the way to the end. So it's written like this. The old style makes a little bit of differentiation. It is this same, but the two, you extend it a little bit out. Okay, so the only difference is here and here. And I would say that the old style is slightly better because then it makes sure you do not confuse yourself with a letter which can be similarly written. In Hebrew, some of the letters can look alike. Okay, so you extend a little bit out, you can be sure you will not confuse yourself, because if you write a B, the modern style, it is also quite similar to a word like this. This is a B, but this is not a B. This is a K, which is round. So if you make your letter a bit round, you can confuse yourself. That's why sometimes I think I jack it a little bit. It is much easier to see. This is a B. Okay, but the modern style is they don't extend it. They just end with. So one stroke, two strokes. So it takes only two strokes to write. The same with the old style, only two strokes. You start with the one which is the top. Okay, and it can be sharp. Okay, although even if you round a little bit, it's okay. It can be sharp, and then you just close it. So it looks like this, the modern form. The other one is you go down, but you extend the second stroke a little bit up here. Okay. So in terms of pronunciation, it is exactly like our English, the B sound. B as in bed. B. That's a sound of. So B is a sound for Beth. Okay. And it has a numerical value of 2. Okay. So the sound will be B. Okay, so when you see a B, B. A is R, B is B, C is K, D is D. So if you, it's like the phonetic system that we use. You know, in Malay, when we learn phonetics, remember we used to teach our students how to do phonetics. We take the A, the E, the I, the O, and the U, and then you start all using a consonant. And then we teach our children to read ba, be, bi, bo, boo. Then C, ka, ke, ki, o, ku. You know, D, da, e, de, di, o, do. So you just pronounce the sound. So the B, this is a B sound, okay? Just as exactly the same in English. There are 10 words in Hebrew which sounds 10 words in the Hebrew adverb, we sound exactly like our English. So this one sounds exactly like our English B. Okay. Except that as it's written, it is written like this. Okay. So one stroke down, then you close the stroke here. That's a modern style. Or one stroke down, the second stroke, you extend a little bit out to the end, jack out a little bit, so that you can make sure you do not confuse it with a letter like this. Because there are many letters that looks quite similar. There'll be another letter that looks like this. Okay, so it's why you have to make sure sometimes you do not confuse. This is the letter P. So by putting a little bit out, okay, you make sure you memorize it. So Aleph, Beth. This is the second letter, Beth. Okay, so one stroke, two stroke. This is the old style. One stroke, two stroke. This is the new style. Okay, any questions? So write it on top of the line. So if you're using the square, you can see how it fits. Because some of the Hebrew letters can go below the line. So far, what we are learning here is these letters do not go below the line. Okay, they rest on the line. So I use a line here to show you the relative positioning of the letters. Okay, so that's the second letter, Beth. Okay, third letter, Gimel. Okay, and both sides, old and new, old and modern is written the same, and this is your letter G. Okay, so in the old style writing and in the modern style of writing, in the modern style of writing, you can see it is very straightforward. 1, 2. Okay, the 1 goes straight down, and then the 2, I think, will be easier. They will put here because he expect you to go up. Okay, so it means if you're on a line, you go down and then you join up. That is your G, your Gimel. Okay, so 1, go down, 2, go up. Okay, the old style, which you can see the printed form is quite interesting. I mean, it is fatter. Okay, so the old style, we write it sometimes a little bit slanted, will be easier. So 1, you go down, 2, you can go up. Okay, so between the old and modern style, the modern style is more upright, whereas the old style tends to slide a little bit, so it's easier. Like it's like a lambda, not like the lambda letter, the L in Greek. Okay, so it is curved. There is a curve here. Okay, so this is a G. So the sound, of course, the pronunciation is exactly the same as our English. G as in God, G sound. Okay, so when you see the G, think of the English sound G. So you put that G out, God, G G, G get. So that's how we do the pronouncing. So the sound is G. Okay, and it has a numerical value of 3. Okay. So 2 ways of writing. Just 2 strokes is all you need to write. Well, the question is, does it really matter how you write the stroke? Well, the purists, like in Chinese, will say, yeah, you have to write it in correct style. In Chinese, the strokes must follow a certain order. You cannot simply just stamp up the strokes. So some people say, well, even in Hebrew, you have to follow the strokes. So this way, we can see David tells you this is the usual way people start. You start from the top, go straight down, and then from here goes up. So that is your Gimel, 2 strokes. The old style is you slide a little bit the vertical bar, but you curl and go down, and then you have the bar. So it's slightly different because then you'll be a little bit more like this. Some people write it this way. Okay. Well, in written form, as long as it looks something like you can see, is okay. Okay, I mean, you will know that this is a G. It can't be something else. Okay, so some people write it this way. Okay, but the usual way will be 1 stroke and the second stroke. So some people do it this way. You will see that the strokes are very different. Okay, so this is a slightly different version, an alternative form. As long as you write it and people can read, should be okay lah. Okay, whether you write it this way or whether you write it this way, I think it's still understood. So Gimel, G sound, G as in God, God. Okay, so the writing part, you can see curve and a vertical bar, and then a short stroke. Or you slant it a bit, vertical bar, and then short stroke. That's Gimel. Okay, let's go a little bit down. This since all this being recorded, then you have Daleth. And this is your D. Okay, so D as in dog. The dog, so the same sound as in English. Numerical value, this noun is 4. So the old style and the new style, it is quite similar. Okay, the new style is just one stroke straight down, just one stroke. Okay, it's not two strokes, it's just one stroke. The old style is actually two strokes. So David here uses almost like a two stroke, except that it is joined. So the two stroke is you stop and then you go down. And you jet it out a little bit, just like the Beth. We jet it so that you can see it is, you will not, you will make sure you do not confuse yourself with other letters which may be similar. So the old style jets out a little bit, okay? Whereas the new style is just, it can be in two strokes, one stroke here, and you can still join it down with a two stroke, but it doesn't jet out. Okay, so it is closed, and there's no gap. Okay, so there's no gap because there's some letters which will have a gap. So this one has no gap; it is complete. So the old style, they jet out a little bit and they goes down. So one stroke, two stroke, or one stroke, two stroke. So this is your Daleth, the sound. Okay. So we have learned 4, Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth. Okay. And then take the 5th one, Hey. Okay. And this is your H. And H as in hat. Hat. So same sound as our English sound. Numerical value, this time will be 5. Okay. They are two ways of writing it. In the modern style, one stroke, and then two stroke. So there is a gap. Okay, one stroke, two stroke. The old style is the same, one stroke, except that you don't put it directly under, you move it a little bit down. Little bit so that it juts out a little bit. Okay. That is the modern style is exactly right at the point. The old style is just a little bit, just like what we do with this and like what we do with this. This also just a little bit of that's old style. Okay, so you find sometimes it's written like this. The printed script, of course, you will see it is something, but keep in mind there is a gap. Okay, or a new style, you must put a gap because there will be another word which will look very similar. These two letters are not the same. This is an H, this is a strong H or a KH. So there's no gap here. If there's no gap, it's an entirely different consonant. Okay, so one has to be very careful with the gap. That's why we extend it out a little bit. You cannot confuse it with this because this one is exactly, it closes it exactly. Whereas this one, if you extend it out a little bit, you cannot mistaken it. Okay, this is a hey, and this is a have. Okay, so notice the difference is in the gap. Okay, so there's a gap here, there's no gap here. So there's difference. So you leave a gap or you jut out a little bit and leave a gap. This will be easier to see. So either way is acceptable. So the sound is h as in hat. Okay, so we have learned 5 letters, the first 5. Okay, so here is where we see why we do the 5. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. See? Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. In terms of sound, silent, B sound, B, G sound, G, D sound, D, H sound, H. In numerical value, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. First stroke, second stroke, third stroke, you can do it this way or you can do the X. It's the same. First stroke, second stroke. First stroke, second stroke. First stroke, second stroke. Down. First stroke, second stroke. Okay. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. So we pause here. You will pause here. This group of 5, easy to memorize because there's this sort of rhythm. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Okay. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. In terms of sound, silent, B, G, D, H. Silent, B, G, D, H. Okay. Okay, so you got the first 5. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. So group it in the group of 5 and get the rhythm. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Tonight you memorize it already. You go and before you sleep, you just memorize it. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. See, the sound is such that it's easy to memorize in groups of 5. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. You have to try speaking it. Remember, Hebrew, you cannot learn by not pronouncing it. A lot of people learn Hebrew by just looking at a book and read with their mind, but they don't pronounce it. You don't pronounce it, you cannot get the Hebrew. You have to learn to speak a lot of Hebrew. And the more you speak, the more you associate the word with the sound. You look at it and you hear the sound, your association, then it's easier to memorize. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Okay, try pronouncing it before we take a short break. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey.
Daleth, Hey.
Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey.
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 Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daleth, Hey.
Yeah, that's the first 5. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey.
Gimel.
So there's a certain rhythm to it, so it's easy to remember. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Okay, get a hang. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Silent, B, G, D, H. B, g, d, h. Silent, b, g, d, h. So the first five are easy because the vowels are just like English vowels. Hebrew is tricky because there are two T, four S, two H. Why they have so many, I don't know, but that is a tricky part of it. Okay, so you will differentiate it as you come along. Okay, so that's the sound. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, A. Silent, B, G, D, H. Okay, let's take a short 5 minutes break. You come back and then we go through the next set. Once you get the hang of it, then you can practice it for the whole week before we come back next week. I also put a sound file in the Google Classroom. And so if you perhaps, if you have not logged onto it, you may not realize in classwork, okay, I put the song, okay, not the sound file. I'll put up a sound file, which I put a link to a SoundCloud file, which I upload on SoundCloud. It was an earlier class which I did with a different college, but the SoundCloud will have the sound of all the letters as well. So if you want to also memorize it that way, okay. So this one, as you can see, is a link to a song. Okay, you at the break you can try to listen to this song and see whether you can learn the alphabet using this song. Okay, I try it. I don't know how to memorize the alphabets this way because, as I say, I learned the happy birthday tune so much easier for me.
That song.
Okay, so I'm not sure whether you can learn this, but I can't figure out. Okay, but that's one fun way to learn the alphabet. If you want to follow this Sunday school style, learn this one. Okay, so the link is there in the Google Classroom. So if you can find more things, share it on the Google Classroom, and then we can see how we can learn. So to me, Happy Birthday song is the easiest for me to memorize all the alphabets. Okay, so at the end of the class, I'll teach you again. Sing it to the tune of Happy Birthday. Okay, short 5 minutes. Take a break. If you have questions to ask while we're on the break, also you can. Okay, we are back. So the first five group: Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Silent, B, G, D, H. Okay, so that's the first group. Let's look at the second group. Second group, the first one is, okay, so you have now, it's the second group of five. The first one is wow. Okay. And you have the O and U, which is the same, the way we write. It is like a walking stick, just one stroke all the way down. So it's curved a little bit. So this is W, S, in well, same sound. And numerical value, it is now 6. Okay, so this is wow. So, this is curved and goes all the way down to the line. There will be something else that will look similar. Okay, so make sure it is written straight. So it just resembles like a walking stick. So this is the letter W. Modern Hebrew sometimes use a V. Sometimes it is translated as a wow, but it's actually very confusing. So I will not even suggest thinking about this. Okay, so keep it strictly to a W so that you make sure don't even think about it as a V, because you will confuse yourself, because it will be something similar with a B sound. Okay, so think of it as a W. Wow. So it is written like a walking stick. This is not too fat, just thin. Okay, one stroke. That's all you need. That's a wow. Okay. Second letter in the group is Zayin. And this is your letter Z. As in zoo. Okay, Z. A Z sound. And the numerical value is now 7. So to write Zayin, you have the older style and the more modern style. The modern style is one stroke and a vertical line down. Okay, so make sure it's not Samekh. One stroke, straight line down. So it's 1 and 2 all the way down. So it is just straight. Okay. Whereas the older style of writing, which I learned, was one stroke, and you do it this way. Because you look at the printer script. Printer script is actually a fat stroke like that. Then there is another fat stroke like that. Okay, that is a printer script. So the modern one try to follow exactly the same. The old style that I learned was this, but to me it's the same if you write it this way or this way, because there's only one letter that looks like this. Okay, there's only one letter that's like this or like this. It's the same because there's only one letter corresponding. So it is a Z. So if you want to do it this way, it is influenced by the modern style. The modern style is very simplistic. Avoid all the curves and all this. So it's a very simple sound. So one short stroke, one vertical stroke. Or you can do it. It's a combination of one and like a L. The Hebrew L. So this is a Z sound. So Zai, Z. So one stroke. That's the easiest way to write Z. So this is the letter Z. Okay. Z. Wow, Zain. Then now comes one of the tricky letters. Okay, the third one is called Heth. The old way of writing it was like that. The modern way of writing, they use a KH. Okay, for this. So you see why it is different. Okay, this is to get the sound. It's a strong H. Okay, so the old style and the new style of writing, you put a line, The old style of writing is the same. It is one stroke, sharp corner, one stroke, sharp corner. So the difference is there's no gap. You must make sure there is no gap because there's one letter that was like that, and now we have a letter which is like this. These two are not the same. Okay, this one is your normal H. This is your strong H. This one there's no gap. In the same way, in the old style writing, if we do the same, you have to make sure there is no gap. 1, 2. Okay. So this way, as I say, some people prefer to make a little gap so that you make sure you will never confuse the two letters because H cannot be strong H because strong H doesn't extend out. So here, some people extend out the H so that it makes sure it's easier to see. Okay? But it's up to you whether you want to do it. So the idea here is there's no gap at the corner, but here there is a gap between the two. So in terms of sound, now this one is a strong H sound. It is like the word where we get lockness. Is it a sound? CH sound. Lockness. It's a very hard, strong H. It is a guttural sound. Pronounced from the back of the throat. So is it? And so you find that it is written sometimes as KH. Modern Hebrew uses a CH instead. You see this in certain words. Have you come across this? You come across this Yiddish word? Yiddish is a Hebrew language developed in Germany, and you see this one. And if you try to pronounce it in English, you end up with chupa. But it's not chu, it's not chu, it's not a CH sound as in English. It is a strong H like here. Kupa. Okay, it's a strong H. But modern Hebrew use a CH. And you see it sometimes in names. There is a very famous guy called this, who has since passed away. He was an American Jewish literature professor. And I used to look at this name, and I have a friend whose name was like that, and I thought it was Chinese. And you don't pronounce it like in English. You don't say chime. It is a strong H. So his name is actually Hayim Batok. Hayim is a strong H. So this is your strong H. So in old transliteration, we put the H with a dot underneath. In the more modern transliteration, they use a KH. Modern Hebrew uses a CH. You see, that's why the names, you end up having CH to things like this. And the temptation is to pronounce it like in English, you pronounce it like chair. It's not a ch sound, it's a h sound. Hayim patok. Okay, it's not chime as the one thing. Okay, so don't make use. So this is a strong H. Like in lockness. So this is not this is a strong H. Lock. This is a guttural at the back of the throat sound. So Hebrew has this H. So there are two H in Hebrew. One is the normal H. H as in hat. This is a strong H, like in lockness. That is a different sound. Okay, so normal H, strong H. So the normal H has a gap. The strong H has no gap. There's a difference. So when you write fast, you can make an error sometimes. You can close up the letter when it's not supposed to close, or you leave it open when it's supposed to close. So you have to make sure there's no gap in a strong H. Okay, it's very strong H. The other one is just hey, hat, heat, hate. That's a strong. That's a normal H. This is a sound. Lock. or like buck. It's a strong H, buck. It's a k sound. Okay. So you look at his name, you know he's Jewish. Buck. It's a strong H. Okay, so this is a strong H. So wow, zai, he. Okay. Then after he comes another strong letter. Te. Okay. And this is pronounced as a T, but you should put a dot underneath. Okay. This is our old style of writing, but the modern one just put a normal T, but you need to distinguish this as strong T. Again, it is a guttural sound, okay, a strong T, and it's like a very dull sound, okay, so that is again hard to pronounce, okay, unless you form the letters. So in the old way of writing and in the new way of writing, a test. Okay, the printed form, of course, is something where it's very nicely written. Okay, with curve. Okay, but we write it. Okay, in modern way, you see, David tells you write it this way: one stroke. Okay, and then two stroke to join. So one stroke, two stroke. One stroke, two stroke. Okay. So put it up a little bit so that you can see it doesn't join, there's a gap. Okay. So one stroke, two stroke. Okay. The old style writing is you can do it in the same way. You can start if you start the other way around, it might be even easier to write. You actually start from this way and then you go around. So you usually need one stroke to do the thing. So it looks like a snail. Okay, one stroke to do the whole thing. But actually, they write it in two strokes. So one stroke, the first stroke is here. That's the first stroke. And then you put the second stroke to complete it. The old way is if you want to write fast, you start from the reverse direction, just one stroke. So it looks like a snail, like a snail shell. Okay, so it looks something like this. And that is a strong T. So there are two T's. So this one we have learned. So this done. The other one is the last letter. Okay, so these two T's are not the same. So that's why we need to differentiate. One is a normal T, as in tell, told. This one is a strong T. So we don't have a lot of English words with a strong T, but in Hebrew there is this very strong T sound. Test, test. Okay, so actually it has a dot to tell you the first letter is a strong T. Test. So two ways of writing it. One is this way. You start from the beginning part one all the way down to here and stop. And then you do the vertical stroke and join it and close the gap. Then you do the stroke. The second stroke is down here. Or you do it fast, just one stroke. And it has a numerical value of 9. Okay. So while Zai have test. So this is also guttural. So you have two gutturals side by side. One is that strong H, head, and then you have this head, head, two strong letters side by side. Okay. Then the last letter in the group is Yod. And that is your Y, as in yonder, the Y sound here. Okay. Numerical value, the last one here, 10. Okay, so yours is very simple. It's the same way of writing. Notice the position. It is, that's it, one stroke all the way down. And notice it is floating above the line. Okay, so this is your yod. So you have wow and you have yod. See the difference? Okay, you pull it all the way down like a walking stick, that is your letter W. If it's just a short stroke, that is your yod. Okay, so see the difference. So it's floating. Okay, there's a lot of empty space here. It's floating. And the yod is the smallest alphabet because this is the least stroke. So when Jesus talks about, the law can be changed even to the dot and the title, the yod to the yod, that is the smallest letter. Okay, so it's a small little corner like that, round corner. It's not sharp, but it's round. So the printed script, of course, the printed script has a bit of something like that. Okay, so it is a nice fatter letter, but it's the same. We put like this, we know this is a yod, and it's floating above the line. Okay, so the second group, we learn 5 letters. Okay, and it is Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod. Now see the relative height of the letters. Okay, so this is the way it is on top of the line. Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod. Aleph, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. So it's very easy to remember because again, you pause it at the Yod. Aleph, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, you pause at Hey, Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. So this is a Waw, this is a Zayin, this is a Het, this is a Tet, and this is a Yod. Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. In terms of sound, over, Z, H, T, Y. W, Z, H, T, Y. Okay. Same like English. W, like in well, water. Z, as in zoo, zoom. Y, as in yell, yonder. These are exactly the same. This one, like the lock. And this is T, very strong T. W, Z, H, T, Y. Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. So in memorization, we use the names for memorization. Easier than to use the sound. Okay. You memorize using the sound is quite difficult. Use the name for memorization. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. Easier to use the names of the letters for memorization. But you need to memorize the sound as well. Silent. B, G, D, H. W, Z, H, T, Y. Okay, you have to associate the sound with the letters. So that when you read the Hebrew, you know how to pronounce the sound. But in memorization, like memorizing the alphabet, we use the name of the alphabets. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. It's easier to remember. Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. Okay. Third group, also of 5. Now you come to a letter called qoph, old spelling, the modern spelling, K-A-F. It's the same sound, F sound, so qoph. And it's written with just one stroke, it is like a C that is reverse. Just one stroke. Okay, C, we write like that. This is our C in English. You reverse it, this is the K in Hebrew. Okay, so you can see like a mirror image. It's exactly the same like a C. Okay, but just that it's terbalik. So C, we write this way. The K is this way. Okay, so just one round shape. Although the printed script makes it more like something like that. Okay, that's a printed script. But actually, all you need to do is just one. It's not a complete circle. It is like an arc. Okay, so that is your K. The K sound is the same as in king. It's a K sound. Okay, and the numerical value now, of course, is 20. You jump to 20. So there's no 11. 11 is made by combining 10 and 1. Okay, so here is 20, the next letter. So the next set is qoph. So it is like a C that is terbalik. Okay, and it's above the line. So just put a C reverse direction. Qoph, K as in king. Okay. The next one is Lamed. This is the old spelling, the new spelling, just short form. And this is your L. L as in land. L sound. Okay. Value, now you jump to 30. Okay. So the L is written with one stroke. Start from down here, and then you go here. So it's only one stroke. Okay, that's your L. Just one stroke. L, Lamed. Okay, so you have qoph. Now you have Lamed. Okay. So the printed script, of course, is vector, but it's the same. You can see it's an L. So you can see the difference in some letters. Some letters you have something like that. Some letters are like that, and some letters are like that. So make sure you remember they are different letters. Okay. Zayin, Waw, Lamed, L. L as in land. Okay. So some of them you can see follow like the Greek alphabet. K, then L, then M, then N. So you almost follow almost the same even in Hebrew. So after L, you find it is now M, Mem. Okay, and both O and Nu, you transit the same. So qoph, Lamed, now it's Mem. Mem as in men. So it's the same sound, M. Okay, and the numerical value now is 40. Okay, Mem in the modern way of writing or in the older one, the script you can see is, of course, very nicely done. It's a fat script, so some people try to follow it, so it is very fat like that. So the easiest way to write it, as David shows you, is you can start it with like this. That's the 1. And then the 2, you cut it down like that. That is the 2. Okay, so it's something like a calf and with a stroke. Okay, that is one way of writing it. So it's like a calf, and then you put the stroke. So that is how he suggests the way you write. Okay. So the way I learned writing M is you can write it also this way. Okay. As long as it looks like the M, it is good enough. Okay. So this is your M. So it looks very different. Our English M is like this, but this M is like this. Okay, so it is you either round it, like what David shows you, and then this stroke, or you can follow it something like here and follow by the stroke, two strokes. So you can join it here. So either one stroke like that, or you can do it this way. That's your M. Okay, M. So one stroke, only two strokes. So that's your M. Then followed by N, Nun. So the O and the Nu is the same. This is your letter N as in none. N sound. And you have a value of now 50. Now Nun, you can see the printed script, of course, looks nice. That's your printed script. Okay, so it's very, very simple. You just one stroke. See, one stroke, do the whole thing. Now you see the difference. We can see how some of the letters we come across are similar. This was your wow. This was your yo. And this is now your noon. See the difference? Okay. One is a walking stick. One is a small little elbow. And one is it is rounded as well. So it looks like more like an ear. Okay. And then you have eventually this one. You also have the K. See, they're all similar. So the danger is when you write your N and you make it too big, it looks like a K. And the danger of when your K is not round enough, it ends like an N. So all these are different. Okay, they all look similar. A wow, like a walking stick. A yo is like a short elbow. A noon it has both ends. So noon is like this. This is your noon, your N. So it looks like a staple pin. Okay, that's the best way I can think of. It's like a staple pin size. Okay, that's your N, noon. So we have qoph, Samekh, mem, nun. Okay, this is the relative height. You can see the height of the letters. Okay. M, n. So k, l, m, n. All follows the English. K, L, M, N. Almost like our English alphabet, also the same sequence. K, L, M, N. Qoph, Samekh, mem, nun. Okay. Then comes the fifth one in the series, and that is the first S that you come across is called Samekh. This is S as in C, S sound. So it's a S sound. And the S has a numerical value of 60. Okay. The S is written, well, we actually one stroke. David suggests a very simple way. It is like something round and then ends back up here. So one stroke only, that's all you need. Okay. So it's like a bulb, like a bulb. Okay. One stroke, Z-L-E-B, and then round it up. That's Samekh. I learned it more like the printed script, because the printed script you can see like this. So I learned writing the S more like this. Okay, but it's the same. You use one stroke, make it round like a bulb. Okay, so you can, so it's quite easy to write a Samekh. This is a Samekh. Of course, you can also write it this way. This is a modern style, very fast. Okay, one round with a bulb, or you can do it this way like a bulb. So this is the S. So Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh. K, L, M, N, S. K, L, M, N, S. Very easy. Same sound like in English. K, L, M, N, S. Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh. So you have the sets already. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. So you can write it in a way that you think you are familiar with. Okay. Wow, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod. Now you add the next one. Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh. So now you have the first group of 5. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Pause. Wow, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod. Pause. Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh. Pause. So you memorize the first set of 3 or 5. 3 groups of 5. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Wow, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod. Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh. Okay. So sound, silent, b, g, d, h. W, z, h, t, y, k, l, m, n, s. Okay, so you want to play sound, you also try to associate the letters with the sound. But memorizing using the names of the alphabet. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. Wow, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod. Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh. Okay, so you pause it at this point. It's very easy to remember. Then you only got 2 more groups of 4. Very easy. You finish it up. Okay, so the next group of 4 sounds here are slightly different. Okay, the first one you have is now what we call Ayin. That is your old spelling. The new one just put without the breathing mark. This is also a breathing mark. It has no sound, so it is silent. So we put it this. You have the Aleph this way. Ayin is the reverse. So it's very tricky. Okay, Aleph, it is this way. Ayin, it is this way, reverse direction. Both are silent. They will only pick up a sound when you put a vowel underneath. So why then have 2 of these silent letters? And both are written differently. Remember, Aleph is written like this. Ayin is written this way. Okay. 2 strokes. First stroke, you can start from here as David suggests. 1. And then you do like an up. 2. So 1, 2. That's Ayin. Okay, so on the line, you do the line, and then you do this line. That's Ayin. So 1, 2. So Ayin is written this way. The transliteration is reverse. Both of them are silent. Aleph no sound. This is also no sound. You will only have a sound when you put a vowel underneath. Okay. So this corresponds to the Greek. In Greek, you have what we call the smooth breathing, and you have the rough breathing. So in Greek, let's say for example, you have a word like Aleph, A-L-E-P-H. You put a smooth breathing, the mark is like this. The Aleph mark is a smooth breathing. So the smooth breathing in Greek is this mark. Rough breathing, let's say you have a word like this, but the rough breathing is a reverse. You can see the mark is different from here. And this one is pronounced with an H sound, H-O-M-O-S, homos, homos. This is left. It's a silent breathing. So it has been preserved even in the Greek as a smooth breathing and rough breathing. But in Hebrew, both are silent. There's no sound. Whatever sound you put comes from the alphabet, the vowel that you put in. So one is written this way, Aleph, and one is written this way, Ayin. So Ayin, put it slow, and this slow. This is Ayin. So the first letter is Ayin. Okay. Then followed by Pei. So first letter is Ayin. Then you have Pei, P-E. Okay. Pei is your P as in pine. P sound. Okay. And by the time you come to the value now, it is 80. Okay. So Pei is written, you can see in the printed script, it has something, it is very fat here. So that's why it has lots of shapes like this. So the easiest way to write it is this way. The modern style influenced by the cursive is, you can see, very simple. One stroke, which is the one here. You do like just like the calf, and then you put something here. And this is your two. So it is like a calf followed by this. Okay, so this is the modern way of writing. Okay, what I learned to write in the old style was slightly different. It is, you start off with this point, the one, and then you do it like a reverse G. So you do the two, and the two is the biggest stroke. So you end up writing it this way. That is the old style, okay, which will correct a little bit like the printed form. The new style, they want to do it, they want to write it fast. They just put one stroke here and they put a stroke there, and it still look like a P. Okay, so this is more like the influenced by the cursive style because it's fast to write. This one, of course, you put the one stroke first and then you follow like a P. So it looks like an inverted upside down G. Remember a G looks like this. This is our English G. You flip it upside down and reverse it, it looks something like this. Okay, so that is your P. So the sound is P, like in a normal P sound, P. So we can either write it fast or you can write it the old style. It's the same, either one. So P, Ayin, P. Okay. Then the next one after Ayin, P, the next one is Sade. This is the old way of writing. The new style writing is they avoid all the dots underneath, so they use a TS. This is again a strong letter. It's a strong S. That's why we use an S with a dot, or you put a TS. TS doesn't help much because I don't think people know it's supposed to be a strong S. Okay, Sade, that is the word. So it is written in two strokes. One stroke is something like this. that is your stroke. And the second stroke is just going down here. So that is your Sade. So both ways, the old and the new way is written the same. And of course, in printed form, you find that it is very nicely written like this. So this is an easier way to write. Just put an angle and then put a stroke. That is your Sade. So it's a strong S. So you already come across one S that was Samekh. Now you come across Sade. This is your second S. So normal S, strong S. S, as it's C. This one is a strong S like Sade. So you have to like hiss. You have to hiss the sound. Hiss is like the strong S. We don't have much words in English like this, but in Hebrew, they have four S's, so we have to learn to differentiate. So this one is Sade. Ayin Pe Sade. Okay. Final letter in the last one is qoph. This is old spelling. The new spelling is using an F instead. And this is your Q, as in queen. That sound. Okay, numerical value now has reached 100. So you want to use number of 100 is Q. Qoph is written with a little bit of difference. Okay, you start off with the one which is basically like a calf, and then you follow with a stroke that goes below the line. Okay, so that is your qoph. So the vertical stroke goes below the line. So that is your Q sound. Qoph. So you have the four letters here. Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph. Okay, so look at the position of the letters. Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph. So this is the four. Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph. Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph. Silent, per, k. So it sounds like a K sound also because it's like your Q, which is this one, and your K, which is this one. Q and K sounds the same. That's why sometimes in modern, they don't even use a Q, they use also a K, but it will become, but we need to differentiate so you know how to write it. So this is a qoph, and this is a calf. Okay, this is pronounced as a calf, and this is pronounced as a qoph. Okay. So two Hebrew words that sounds similar, the k sound. Qoph, calf. Okay. So Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zai, Het, Tet, Yo. Okay, so you have these groups: Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pe, Sade, qoph. Okay, so four. And do the last four, and you can see why we do it in the groups of four. Okay. David only got three. That's because the S is split up. Okay, so you have a resh, and you have a shin, you have a sin, and you have a tau. Okay, so there are four letters here. R is resh. R as in root. It's very simple to write it, but see the difference. It is round. So you have a D, which is sharp. and you have a round, which is a R, and you have a qoph, which is a K. See how they can be very deceptive. Okay, you pull the R a bit longer, it becomes a K. So the R doesn't extend until like a K. So this is sharp, a sharp angle. That's why sometimes we write it jutting out a bit to make sure this is entirely round. Okay, this is also round, but it's more complete. Whereas the R is round and you just stop. That is your R. Resh. So sound is as a normal R, as in root. Resh. Okay, so that's all you need, right? One stroke. Resh. The next two letters are the same except where you put a dot. Okay, so in original Hebrew, they have no dots and dashes and all this, so it's a consonantal text. So there was only one way to write it. So the way to write it was very simple. So you have two letters. One is called shin. This is the old style, the modern style. Then you have the old style, the modern style, and one is called sin. They both use the same root letter. Okay. So you can see it's very simple. David writes it this way. One stroke all the way around. And then you put one stroke down here, a 2. So one stroke like a V and then put one stroke here. That is the base. The shin has a dot on the right side. The sin has a dot on the left side. Now, this is really confusing. So you notice where the dot is. If the dot is on this side, the sound is pronounced as a SH sound, sh, as in sheep, sh. This one, sin is just same as Samekh. Just the same as sound, s, as in snake. Okay, but it's written differently. So now you realize there are 4 S's. You have Samekh, you have Sade, you have Shin, and you have Sin. Samekh, which is written like that. Sade, which is written like that. Shin, the dot is here. Sin, the dot is here. There are 4 S. Normal S, strong S, S with the SH sound, which is a V, and S, which is same like the S here, with just a stroke on top. Samekh, Sade, Shin, Sin. Shin, Sin, Sh, S. Okay. Most of the time they combine it because all depends on the dot. So if in normal original text with no dot, you have to guess what letter is this. Is it a shin or is it a sin? Because it's written the same. It's just that they differentiate it by putting a dot eventually, and the dot on the right hand side has a SH sound. The dot on the left hand side has a normal S sound. But you differentiate the different S. You see, how do you know it is this S, Samekh? How do you know it's this S, sin? Well, if you see an S with this one, then it is a sin. If you see a normal S, that is a Samekh. If you see an S with a dot, that is Sade. If you see an S with an angle like that, that is Shin. This is really confusing. There are 4 S in Hebrew. That makes it so. So Resh, Shin, Sin. Resh, Shin, Sin. Okay, so this one is pronounced like that, but if you don't know, you think of it like this one. Resh, Shin, Sin. And then this one is Tau. Tau is very simple to write. It's a T as in normal tell, the T sound. And you write it with something like that. So one stroke, and then you have your 2 stroke. Now you can leave a little gap. You leave a gap also can help because you remember they are very similar letters that looks deceptively like this one. You have the hey, in which we differentiate. You have the head, which we close. And now we have a T, in which it is easier if you don't put it as a vertical, but curve it a bit, then you find the T. See how similar they are. Okay, this one has a gap. This one has no gap. This one has a gap, or as David put it, sometimes they don't put a gap, but because you jut it out like that, you know this is a T. Whereas, but as I say, you put the H and you jut it out, it can also look like a T. So I always prefer to curve it a little bit. Okay, curve it, then you know it's a T. So you don't confuse this. Okay, now let's just have an overview, and now you can see why we do the groups. First one, Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey. See? Then the next one, Wow, Zayin, Het. And then you do the tab in, you can do it in this way. And then Yod. Then Kaf. Round a bit Kaf. Lamed. Mem. Nun. Samekh. Okay. Ayin. Pay will be easier to do it this way. Pay. Sade. Qoph. Resh. Shin. Sin. How. Okay, so in terms of transliteration, silent, B, G, D, H, W, Z, strong H, strong T, Yod, K, L, M, N, S. Breathing mark, reverse direction, P, Sade, strong S, qoph, Q, R, SH, S, and T. These are your sound. So silent, B, G, D, H, W, Z, H, T, Y, K, L, M, N, S. Silent, P, S, K, R, Sh, S, T. Okay, but easier to memorize. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pei, Sade, qoph, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. Okay, so that you do it in 5. So sing it along like that. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pei, Sade, qoph, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. Okay, sing the happy birthday song. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pei, Sade, qoph, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. So you pause it, and then you pause the final one. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pei, Sade, qoph, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. Okay, that's not way to remember. Okay, so try it and have lots of fun. So practice writing, and as you write, pronounce the letter so that you associate your writing with the letter. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pei, Sade, qoph, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. See, so that's an easier way to remember by grouping them into 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. This is the easiest way to remember. Groups of 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. Okay, so I find this is one way I learned it 45 years ago, and you can't forget. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zan, Hetet, Yo, Qoph, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pe, Sade, Ko, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. So try whatever way you can to memorize and start practicing writing. Writing, pronouncing is the key to learning Hebrew. As you write, say the letter Aleph, so that whenever you see the letter, you link it with the sound Aleph. And then also play with the sound so that you get the hang of the sound. So it's like piano playing. Those who can play good piano, they look at the letters, immediately they know it was sound. C, D, E, F, G, B, C. You know, they can figure out by sight reading. So in Hebrew, you learn do sight reading along the way. So it takes a bit of difficulty, but it's still phonetic. So it's actually easier than Chinese. Chinese is totally a letter, one sound. This one at least is phonetic, but it doesn't use English alphabet like A, B, C, D, E. It uses some, some symbols like that. But the symbols, each one have a sound. So at least it's still easy to figure out. So you can try practicing. Look at the book now, and you can see, you can figure out roughly looking at some of the letters. Okay. So let's say if I will give you one word, like now, let me close with this. Let's say I give you a word like this. Okay. Let's say if I give you a word like okay, so Hebrew is read from here. So you can see this is a M, and this is a L, and this is a K. Okay, M-E-L-K. You put the E vowel and you put the E vowel, Melech. And that's word for king. So you see, eventually you can figure out some of the words. So it's just getting the association of the letters with the name of the alphabet, and then with the sound. M-L-K, put the M-E, Melech, Melech. So it's not that difficult, okay? But you need to really memorize the alphabet. If you don't memorize, we can't help you, see? It's like ABC. You have to teach your children to sing the ABC song. And so you sing the same song here. So you either try the modern Israel Sunday school song, or you can try the happy birthday tune. Okay. Sing it. And you get the hang of it. Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zan, Hetet, Yo, Qoph, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pe, Sade, Ko, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. After a while, you get the hang of it. Okay. Okay, so see you next week. Today we start off late, so we compensate a little bit. Okay, but next week we will keep it just 2 hours. So next week we have to go into vowels. If we want to really go fast, we will practice writing again, practice the sounds again, but then we will now introduce you the vowels. And once you end in the vowels, then you can actually begin to read letters already. And that's the fun part of it. Okay, I'll write out actual Hebrew letters, and you realize, hey, you can actually read this phonetic. M-A-L-A or M-E-L-I, you can begin to start reading. Okay, so Hebrew is really not difficult. Okay, so the fun part will be there as we begin to look at it. So practice. If you don't practice and don't start reading, memorize, means look at the letter, you know what is it. Don't keep referring back to the book or what is this letter. You cannot progress. You have to learn to memorize the 22 consonants, because there's no other way to go forward. Okay, it's like the modern English alphabet. You recognize the A, the B, the C, the D, the E, the F, the G. You have to memorize Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Waw, Zan, Hetet, Yo, Qoph, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samekh, Ayin, Pe, Sade, Ko, Resh, Shin, Sin, Tao. You see, you get it, you get the hang of it. Okay, so no other way to help you, but you have to memorize. Okay. So, one thing is you can either put into a 6x4 card, carry the card with you each time you're waiting for the bus or whatever. Just take out the card and then memorize it. That was how I learned. I used 6x4 cards, write down all the alphabet, And then you keep the card with you in your pocket. Each time you check it out, and then you just summarize. Groups of 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. Very easy to remember this way. Okay, so I give you a lot of tips how I learn. This is how I learn. Groups of 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. Rather than to try to memorize the whole thing, break it into groups of 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. Easier to do it. Okay, so the video link should be out a few days later, and then I'll get it uploaded on the Google Classroom. Then you can check out it if you need help to refresh your memory. Okay, so as we say, Shalom.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.
Hello.
So maybe we
Thank you. Good
Hebrew
night.
phrases also.
Night.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Doctor.
good night. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah. Good night. Good night.
Thank you.